Hello. In this video, we are going to talk about conditional sentences. What are conditional sentences? Now, let's start with zero conditional sentences. Zero conditional sentences are used when we talk about a fact, something that is always true. Now, let's think about something that is always true. For example, if you heat water, what happens? If you heat water to 100 degrees centigrade, what will happen? Yes, exactly, it boils. Now, let's make one complete sentence. If you heat water to 100 degrees centigrade, it boils. It boils. This is simple present tense. So both parts of the sentence are simple present tense. We call this zero conditional sentence. It means that both parts of the sentence are in simple present tense and we are talking about a fact. Now, can you think about one more example? Yes, if it rains, the ground gets wet. Yeah, true. It's always true. When it rains, the ground gets wet. Or if it rains, the ground gets wet. This is zero conditional sentence, and you see that it's very easy. Now we are moving to the next one. Conditional sentence type 1. What is conditional sentence type 1? Now look at the structure of zero conditional sentence. You will see that here we start with if, then a simple present tense, then another simple present tense. You see that if plus simple present, and in the next part, again, another simple present tense. In type 1 of conditional sentence, we talk about something that is real, but it's not something that is always true. It's real conditional sentence. What does it mean? If you practice English very well, you will learn English in a short time. Yeah, this is true. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you practice English very well, then you will learn English. Now, let's focus on the structure of this type of conditional sentence. You will see that we start with if, then we have got present simple, and after that we have got will, which is future. The situation is in the present time. It means that if you practice English now, then what will happen? You will learn English very well, or you will learn English very soon. So if you practice English, then you will learn English. Definitely. Another example is if you study hard, then you will pass the exam. If you study hard, you will pass the exam. We've got if sentence, which is simple present, and then we've got the answer to the if, which is future, starting with will. Now, this is the basic grammar. Then I'm not going into more details, but in the next lessons for intermediate and advanced grammar, I will go into more details about conditional sentences. Just you practice, make more sentences, and learn conditional sentence type 1. If you don't learn type 1 very well, type 2 will be a little bit more difficult for you. So, in type 1, we talk about the real things, and we use simple present and future or will sentence. Very easy. And instead of will, we can sometimes use may, depending on what you're going to say. For example, I say, if you don't practice hard, you may not learn English in a short time. Right. Now let's focus on type 2 of conditional sentences. In this type of sentence, we focus on an unreal situation. For example, I don't have a lot of money. This is the real situation. If I had, which is not real, if I had a lot of money, I would buy a house, for example. So you see that this is not real. Then the first part or the if clause is in past simple, not present, because it's not real, it's not true, then the main clause is would, starts with would. So I repeat my example again. If I had a lot of money, which means that I don't have a lot of money, I would buy a big house, which means that I cannot buy a big house now, at least, because I don't have that lot of money. Now, listen to another example. If I had your number, I don't have your number. If I had your number, I would call you. It means that I don't have your number and I cannot call you. So this is type 2 conditional sentences. Now you can see some more sample sentences, and after this you will see some exercises on the screen that you can focus on and do more practice. So you will see that it becomes easier and easier after each practice and after each exercise that you do. English language needs practice. You have to repeat sentences, you have to listen a lot to other people speaking, you have to read sentences, and you have to do a lot of things so that you can have the ability to speak fluently and correctly. Never forget practice. As I usually tell you, practice makes perfect. Now, let's go to the third type of conditional sentence. This one is a little bit more challenging because it's again an unreal conditional sentence. It's an unreal situation in the past, not in the present. For example, 2 days ago, I had an exam. I didn't get a good score in my exam. Do you know why? Because I had not studied very well before that. So I want to say that if I had studied better, if I had studied, this is past perfect, had studied, then what would have happened or what could have happened? I would have got a better score. It means that I didn't study because this situation is in the past. So I didn't get a good score. If I had studied before the exam, so that's why I'm using past perfect. If I had studied better or if I had studied more, I would have got a better score or I could have got a better score. Yes, I think that this one needs a little bit more practice even. Then I will show you on the screen some more sample sentences. Then you can read them, analyze them, underline the form of the words, and then make similar sentences. I'm sure that you can learn it very well by practicing. Now, let me give you more examples for type 3 of the conditional sentence. Yesterday, I had a meeting, but I was late for the meeting. Do you know why? Because I didn't leave home on time. So what happened? I was late for the meeting. If I had left my house earlier, I would not have been late for the meeting. Yes, this situation is in the past, but it's not real because the real thing is that I left home late and I was late for the meeting. Now, I want to say that in a condition or in a conditional situation, if I had left the house earlier, I would have I would not have been late for the meeting. Now, this is an unreal situation because I was late for the meeting and I left home late. So, in a conditional situation, I would say if I had left my house earlier, I would not have been late for the meeting. So for this type of conditional sentence, I'm going to show you some more samples on the screen. You can read them and focus on the structures, analyze the sentences, and try to make similar sentences. Then for more exercise, you can refer to this grammar book and do more exercises, and you can check your answers at the end of the book with the key. subscribe, then you will see more grammar lessons. Grammar is the base of your language. When you know the structures and the form of the sentences, and you practice them and you internalize them, then you will speak better and more correctly. Wait for more. Thank you.